My Lord Father says I am to serve you.
Everyone thinks they understand Westeros. They think they know when it broke. They point to the Mad King. They point to Robert's Rebellion. Some even go back to the Dance of the Dragons. But what if the fracture line runs deeper than all of that? What if the moment that truly reshaped the fate of the Seven Kingdoms didn't happen in a throne room or on a battlefield, but in a quiet act of loyalty that looked like honor? Before we go any further, this is your spoiler warning for A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, the Dunk and Egg novellas by George R.R. Martin, and broader implications for Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. If you want to go into the new series completely blind, now's the time to turn back, because once you see this betrayal for what it truly is, you can't unsee it. Dunk, Sir Duncan the Tall, is introduced as the purest kind of knight. He isn't clever like Tyrion. He isn't politically sharp like Littlefinger. He isn't driven by prophecy or destiny. He is simple, honest, stubborn. He believes in the stories, the songs, the idea that a knight protects the weak. And that's precisely why what he does becomes so dangerous. At first glance, the Dunk and Egg stories feel smaller than the epic wars of dragons and kings. No cities are burning, no apocalyptic winters, just hedge knights, tournaments, and dusty roads. But that smaller lens is deceptive. What Martin is doing here is showing us the foundation beneath the spectacle, the moral soil from which the future grows. And in that soil, something rots. Dunk's defining trait is loyalty. When he meets Egg, the future King Aegon V Targaryen, he doesn't see a political asset. He sees a kid. A stubborn, bald, occasionally insufferable kid. And he chooses him. Not because it's advantageous, not because it will bring him glory, but because it feels right. That choice, that loyalty, slowly pulls him into the machinery of Targaryen power. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Dunk doesn't just protect Egg, he legitimizes him. He becomes living proof that a Targaryen can be good, that a dragon can be just, that the crown can be redeemed. And that belief changes everything. Aegon V grows up to be one of the most reform-minded kings in Westerosi history. He tries to uplift the small folk. He pushes against entrenched noble power. He dreams of dragons not as weapons of tyranny, but as tools to enforce fairness. But the realm resists him. The nobles undermine him. Reform becomes frustration. And that frustration leads to obsession. Summerhall. The tragedy that kills Aegon V nearly wipes out his family and births the generation that leads directly to the Mad King, the event that sits like a shadow over the entire Targaryen line. Now ask yourself, would Aegon have walked that path without Dunk? Dunk represents the romantic ideal of knighthood. Aegon believes in that ideal because Dunk lives it. He sees the realm through Dunk's eyes, sees injustice, cruelty, and the arrogance of lords. He wants to fix it. But a king doesn't have Dunk's simplicity. A king has power, and power demands results. So Aegon tries to hatch dragons. Dragons, the very symbol of Targaryen supremacy, become, in his mind, the solution to injustice, not negotiation, not gradual reform, fire made righteous. That leap, from idealism to catastrophic action, is the hidden hinge of history. Dunk likely stands beside him at Summerhall, loyal to the end. Loyal even as the flames rise. And here is the betrayal no one talks about. Dunk's loyalty may have helped create the very conditions that destroy the realm he wanted to protect. Not intentionally, not maliciously, but structurally. By reinforcing Egg's belief that goodness plus power equals justice, Dunk helps nurture a king who believes he can bend the world into shape. And when that fails, the attempt to restore dragons becomes the spark that reshapes the dynasty. From Summerhall comes instability. From instability comes Eris II. From Eris comes rebellion. From rebellion comes a fractured realm. From that fracture comes everything we see in Game of Thrones, the War of the Five Kings, the Red Wedding, the fall of House Stark, the return of dragons through Daenerys. It all echoes back to a king who thought he could fix the world, and a knight who taught him to believe in impossible ideals. Now look at House of the Dragon. That series shows us the Targaryens at their peak. Dragons everywhere, power unquestioned. But it also shows us something else. The fatal flaw of believing that dragons can solve political problems. Every time a Targaryen reaches for fire as the answer, the realm bleeds. Aegon V's tragedy isn't separate from that pattern. It's a continuation of it. A reformer who thought he could control the uncontrollable. And Dunk? He embodies the contradiction at the heart of Westeros. He believes in the stories of knights. But we know those stories are lies. We've seen what knights really do. We've seen Ser Meryn Trents, Ser Gregor Clegane, Jaime Lannister before his redemption. The title doesn't guarantee virtue. Dunk tries to make it mean something. But in doing so, he anchors Egg to a romantic vision of rulership that reality will never support. This is why the Dunk and Egg story reframes Game of Thrones. It shifts the focus from dragons and prophecy to ideology. It suggests that the fall of Westeros wasn't just caused by madness or ambition, but by belief. Belief that power can be pure. Belief that dragons can be controlled. Belief that honor alone can fix systemic rot. Martin has always written about the danger of stories. Knights aren't what the songs claim. Kings aren't saviors. Prophecies mislead. The most devastating betrayals aren't always knives in the dark. Sometimes they're promises kept too faithfully. Dunk never betrays Egg in the conventional sense. He stands by him, protects him, shapes him, and that unwavering loyalty might be the most consequential betrayal in the entire saga. Because it reinforces a dream that should have died. When you rewatch Game of Thrones, think about Daenerys standing before her dragons, convinced she can break the wheel with fire. Think about how many Targaryens believed they were different, that they would be the exception. That mindset didn't start with her. It stretches back through generations, back to a boy king who wanted to help the small folk, back to a towering knight who believed in stories. The tragedy of Westeros isn't just that bad men ruled. It's that good men believed too strongly. And maybe that's the quiet horror at the heart of a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Not that Dunk failed, not that Egg was cruel, but in trying to make the world better, they may have set it on a path toward fire. So here's the real question. Was Dunk the purest knight in Westeros, or the man who unknowingly helped doom it? Drop your theories in the comments. Do you think Summerhall was inevitable? Or did Dunk and Egg's bond create the very instability that shattered the Targaryen dynasty? And if you want more deep dives into hidden Westerosi history, layered betrayals, and the secrets buried beneath the Iron Throne, make sure you subscribe. Because the deeper you look into this world, the darker it becomes.